Hey, shalom, shalom. Anakna waha ay barish Allah walakim la adam. Call Shabuai Baharacha Wakak Shaw Yahweh Bahasham Yahushua Ma'amat, which is truly here with the Hebrew Israelites coming to you week in and week out through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahasham Yahushua to preach to you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, West Indians, Haitians, Israelite foreigners. Necham Matam Kaya Malak with Hashemayim Korah, repent ye, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Call Layim La Yahweh Bahasham Yahushua Bahasham Recha Kodash Wamashana Kabarim Zukoim Nawa Wamalakim Sheshla Zukoim Rechagadwa Wachasa Washalam Wabarakim Laha Bacharim Shaha Kawayash Al Shalawam. All praise to the Most High Yahweh, which means He exists. Bahasham, in the name of Yahushua, He delivers. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Israel, the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, and mercy, peace, and blessings to the elect of the nation of Israel. Shalom, which means peace. This is an article on a local news website. It says, police search for thieves who stole 29 guns from East Charlotte pawn shop. It says Charlotte Mecklenburg police are trying to find 3 suspects who robbed an East Charlotte pawn shop, taking off with 29 guns. Police said it happened at Smart Pawn and Jewelry Store off Monroe Road, just before Wendover Road. It says investigators said the store was robbed on Saturday just before 10 a.m. Detectives said 3 masked men went in, forced everyone to the ground at gunpoint, and robbed the place. You see, so we're starting to see the love of many waxing cold, while things like burglaries and robberies have always happened, we're seeing an increase in things like this. So I'm going to get Matthew chapter 24, we'll get verse 12. It says, and because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. All right, that's what we're seeing. I'm going to get this in another version. It says, sin will be rampant everywhere, and the love of many will grow cold. You see? So, simultaneously, as crime is increasing, as iniquity is increasing, all right, the love of many is waxing cold. You see, we're seeing things like, family members often their family member, other family members pretty much, and then often themselves, then things like this. Like, usually if somebody was to do like a robbery or like a burglary or something like that, they would usually go in at nighttime, where they're like undetected. But these people went right before 10 a.m. Another brother went to a lesson or a video going into pretty much how, like, I believe it was in San Francisco, that someone, I think they got their car taken within like 10 minutes of parking, and then somebody else within 5 minutes of parking. You see, so burglary, theft, things like of that nature, all of those things are starting to increase. So let's go back to the article. So it reads, it says, according to a police report, the thieves took off with 29 guns, including pistols and revolvers. They also got away with $1,500 in cash and some jewelry. All right, and why exactly, would they be doing that? It's because, things is, inflation, perilous times. We're amongst perilous times, which is only going to increase. All right, so what could they do with those types of items? They might sell it for cash, or they might they'll sell them and get cash in return. Because right now, it's a lot of people without work, without any type of income coming in. All right, so we're seeing those seditions and people pretty much taking things into their own hands. All right, and again, it's only going to increase. It says that's pretty much the point. So let's get some more precepts. This is 2nd Isaiah, also Esdras, chapter 15. We'll get verse 15. It says, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. All right. And what's that? The ultimate sword, going to the nukes. All right. But then also the common day killing instrument. All right. It says, for their sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. All right. Pretty much, going up and battling each other. It says, for there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. All right. So sedition goes into insurrections, uprisings against the common authorities. All right. It says, and invading one another, they shall not regard their kings nor their princes. And it says invading one another. It's also another precept that goes into for lack of bread and for great tribulation, which I'm gonna get that. I don't want to Yeah, let me get that. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 15. Well, I'm gonna read down. It says, for there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes. All right. So pretty much his rules set in place. All right. And the law of the land is pretty much what Esau decrees as his laws. All right. So that's a form of not regarding the kings nor princes. All right. And then also, like, if, the leadership of America, Babylon the Great was to, respond to certain calls. All right. How can this look, with police, military, it's groups in America, Babylon the Great, and in other parts of the world that pretty much they're not going to regard their kings or princes, if they was to respond to like like certain situations. They're even like defunding, the police in certain areas, you see. So the land is pushing forth or going towards more and more to like anarchy, all right, which is like without law, all right. And then the law that's left, individuals are going to, they're not going to respect it. They're not going to respect the so-called power. All right, because pretty much those social constructs are going to be torn down. All right, those social constructs are being taken down, as we speak, which is only going to increase. And people are going to be pretty much doing what they want. It says, they shall not regard their kings nor princes, in the course of their actions shall stand in their power, doing other things, whatever it is that they do. Verse 17, it says, a man shall desire to go into a city and should not be able, And, Esau will bring this in, on the left-hand side, however he does. One way that he is pushing towards is, ultimately the Charagma, But he wants like 15-minute cities, 15-minute cities. It's a shortage of gas, so that can come into effect, but nevertheless, it's going to be a point in time, to where a man is going to want to go into a city and he's not going to be able. Verse 18, for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled. The houses shall for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled. The houses shall be destroyed and men shall be afraid, because it's not going to be, it's not going to be how it is right now. All right, because right now you got the social constructs that's up, the so-called laws that keep this place running, so to speak. So without those social constructs, it's going to be every man for himself, and for the most part, nobody is prepared to. For the most part, nobody's going to be prepared for Jacob's trouble. You see, only the elect. All right, it says. What's a lot? I'm gonna get a precept to go with that. This is Ezekiel chapter 7 and verse 17. I'm gonna start from verse. Let's start at verse 15. It says, the sword is without, and the pestilence, and the famine within. He that is in the field shall die with the sword, and he that is in the city, famine and pestilence shall devour him. But they that escape of them shall escape, and shall be on the mountains like doves of the valleys, all of them mourning, everyone for his iniquity. All hands shall be feeble, and all knees shall be weak as water. All right, going into, how men are going to be in that day. All right. Scripture also say that, wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins, like a woman in travail? All right. Because pretty much men are going to be afraid in that day. All right. It says, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of lack of bread and for great tribulation. All right. So right now we're seeing an influx, an increase, in break-ins, robberies, stuff like, stores, currently. But what's going to happen when, when all these stores close up? All right. What's going to be left? All right. For the most part, it's going to be, just houses. So I'm going to read that again. It says, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword. They're going to be running into other people's homes after all these stores close up. It says, but shall destroy their houses with the sword. Clearing their houses out. It says, and spoil their goods because of lack of bread and for great tribulation. All right, going into lack of bread, going into a famine. All right, so people are going to be looking for food. That's going to be a different type of, running into someone's house. It's not going to be how it is currently, because when you're trying to eat to survive, it's gonna be different. People gonna have a different mindset. All right, it says, and for great tribulation, great tribulation. All right, right now we're in that great. The word great also goes into intense. All right, right now we're in intense times. All right, but it's going to get way worse. All right, so we're going to see more of an increase in things like this. That's also why the scriptures say, in those times, be as pilgrims upon the earth. But I just wanted to go into that article. We're seeing an increase in violence, like the scriptures say, Matthew 24:12, like we got, the love of many shall wax cold. All right, so Lord's will, that was a beautiful edification through the spirit. Lord's will, you all have a good day. Shalom, shalom.